Alright, let's do a quick introduction to materials. Materials specify how model elements should display in views and rendered images. They also provide descriptive and structural information. In Revit, you can apply materials to elements in the building model in a project, or you can also apply materials to elements when defining their families through parameters. Alright, so if you recall in the last lesson when we created some families, we were able to give them material parameters so that eventually we can apply other materials to them. Okay, let's take a look at how to where the materials are. Okay, so if you can go under the Manage tab and click on to the button that says Materials. Alright, so you're going to get our materials dialog box here. Okay, now the material dialog box, you can see here, you'll first see a list of all the available preset materials, okay, that are found in Revit. Anything from acoustic tile all the way down to wood veneer. Alright, they're all in alphabetical order. You'll also notice that when I select one of these materials, let's say I select asphalt, you will see in the Appearance box here, I'm going to click onto the tab that says Appearance. Okay, you can see what that looks like. Okay, what the asphalt looks like. So again, if I go back to my materials, I click on a material here. Okay, on my Appearance tab, I can see what material, okay, what that material looks like. Alright, now let's take a look at some new materials that we're going to create. In this exercise, in this lesson, I want to create the following 6 materials. You can see we're going to create a metal material, more specifically brass. We're going to create a custom material using custom siding that I downloaded from the internet. We'll also take a look at how to create glass, simple wall paint color. We'll also take a look at creating wood. And lastly, we'll take a look at creating, or at least using a material found in the Autodesk library. So these 5 we're going to create, but this one here we'll just get from the Autodesk library. So that's the first one I'm going to show you here, is this Autodesk, from the Autodesk library. Alright, so first thing we do when we want to create a new material is find a material on this list that is similar to the material that you want to create. Okay, if there is none, we can simply choose generic. You can see right here there's a generic material that we can use. So just like most objects or elements in Revit, we simply choose one, like for instance the wall. When we created a different wall assembly, we chose one that was similar, and then we just modified it. Well, same thing here in materials. We could find one that is similar and then simply modify it. Okay, so let's take a look at creating a new material from the material list. So the first thing I want you to do is we're going to create this material here, as I mentioned, the masonry. Okay, we're going to choose just a different appearance. You can see here that when I choose masonry brick, it's the standard burgundy material that you see here. I want to give it a different appearance. Okay, so what we're going to do here is let's go to my material list. I'm going to click onto masonry brick, which is similar to the one I want to create, but again a different appearance. I'm going to right click, and I want you to click on duplicate. Alright, so for this one here, we're going to call this CC2 masonry brick. Alright, CC2 is just something that an abbreviation that I use because I had a class before that had the abbreviation CC2, and I'm using the notes from there. So I'm going to keep it the same. I'm going to call this CC2 masonry brick. So I'm going to click OK. And you can see now it appears in my list, again in alphabetical order. There's CC2 masonry brick. Okay, so I want you to select it. Okay, so again, that's the first thing we need to do, is just duplicate an existing material. Again, if you're not familiar with any of these materials, you can always just choose generic. Okay, duplicate that one and start from scratch. Okay, but this one here I'm going to select, and then take a look at what I'm going to do. So you can see here CC2 masonry brick is the material that's selected. I'm going to click here, Appearance Property Sets. So let's click onto there. So this is step 2 here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the material from the material library, from the Autodesk library. You can see there's a vast amount of different materials that have already been created. The first thing I'm going to do is you see there's a whole bunch of materials here in our property sets, and what I want to do is just simply delete all these. I want to start my own or new from scratch. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to do a right click, okay, and click Purge All Unused. Okay, well, you can see none of these materials. There's 82 materials that have been that are there by default. I'm going to purge all of them, okay, so that we're starting afresh. Okay, so the first thing again that I want you to do is make sure that we've duplicated our material. There you go, we've created a new material. And again, you can create a new material by choosing one and duplicating it, or just choosing generic and duplicating. Key thing here is that we've given it a name. Okay, then I'm going to go to Appearance Property Sets, and what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to go into my Autodesk library. So under Masonry, I'm going to go to Brick, and I'm going to choose this Adobe Beige brick. Maybe that's the brick that I want to use for the wall, okay, rather than that burgundy one. Okay, so again, here are the steps. So step 1, create the material, which I did. I duplicated and renamed it. Okay, and in this step 1 is to select the material from our Autodesk library. Step 2 is to rename it. So right now I'm going to do a right click and I'm going to rename it. A lot of times I like to rename it the same name as I gave up here. So CC2 Masonry. Now you do not have to rename it. I'll show you later that you can use an option here that enables Revit to rename it, but I always like to rename it the same as I gave it in the material list. Okay, so that's the second step. In this step, I renamed it. Okay, and the last step, and probably the most important one, is being able to link this material to this name. Okay, so again, I need to link this name right here to this material right here. And to do that, instead of clicking, you can see right here under Properties, you need to change that from Independent to By Property Set. So in other words, the material that you see here in the list is linked to the material in the property sets. This area here is called the Project Property Sets. Alright, so I'm going to simply go ahead and click By Property Sets. It's going to ask you, do you want to create a new property set or just select the existing one? So I'm going to select this existing one. And there we go. The last step, click Apply. And there you go. They've now been linked. So you can see here, okay, this material, okay, so watch, I'll select a different material, but I'll go back to CC2 Masonry Brick, and you can see what CC2 Masonry Brick looks like. It has the Adobe Beige pattern, okay, attached to it.